dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom. Hello my dear students, today in 8th standards social study we will be learning the topic Introduction to the Parliamentary System, which is in Civics. You people are studying Civics from standard 6th as a special subject. Otherwise, before standard 6th, in 5th standard you people learnt EVS part 1 and EVS part 2. Then in 7th standard also you people learnt about our constitution in the civics, concept of the constitution, need of the constitution, then the fundamental rights and the duties mentioned in our constitution, and also the process of making of our constitution. Now in 8th standard civics we are going to learn about our parliamentary system. The heading of our civics textbook or the chapters which are there in civics are under the heading of parliamentary system. Like in history, we are having heading for our history textbook is history of modern India. It means that in 8th standards history we are studying about the modern Indian history. The same thing in civics we are going to study about the parliamentary system. Now in civics altogether there are 6 chapters: Introduction to the Parliamentary System, the Indian Parliament, the Union Executive, the Indian Judicial System, the State Government, and the last one, 6th chapter, Bureaucracy. Now today we will be learning the topic Introduction to the Parliamentary System. So in this topic basically we'll take introduction about the concept of the parliamentary system and why we people Indian adopted a parliamentary system of government rather than the presidential system of government. So here is the first chapter of our civics, Introduction to the Parliamentary System. Now what exactly we are going to study in this chapter? Machinery. What? Machinery or the system. Machinery or the system of government as given in the Indian Constitution. The machinery or the system of our government which is given in our Constitution, about that we are going to study in this topic. Now here the word introduction is very important. मतलब क्या है कि ज़्यादा डिटेल में नहीं हम पढ़ने वाले हैं इस लेसन में, पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम का इंट्रोडक्शन क्या है, एग्जैक्टली पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम क्या है और हमारे देश में पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम क्यों है, प्रेसिडेंशियल सिस्टम क्यों नहीं है, इसके बारे में जनरल इंफॉर्मेशन, जनरल नॉलेज और इंट्रोडक्शन हम इस टॉपिक में करने वाले हैं. सो इन आवर टेक्स्ट बुक दिस क्वेश्चंस आर गिवन and the heading is, have you thought of this? First one is, what is the parliamentary system of government? Then in India we have prime minister, but why is there no prime minister in the United States of America? What is the difference between a parliamentary and a presidential system of government? So basically there are two types of government, or the two systems are there. More than two are there, but here we are going to talk about only two, parliamentary system and the presidential system. Now this question, in India we have prime minister, but why is there no prime minister in the United States of India, United States of America? Because there is a presidential system of government, and that's why there they are having president, and in our country we are having prime minister. So these questions would lead us to conclude that every country has a different form of government. Like in India we are having parliamentary system of government, and in United States of America there is presidential system of government. One by one now we'll take introduction about these things. The function of the legislature. Now here the word legislature is again very important to study this chapter. Legislature is nothing but the legislature body of a country or state, जो उस particular state या country को run करने का काम करती है. So the function of the legislature is to make laws. Here you can see to make laws. The executive implements the law. Here this executive is here, implements the law. Then legislative to make laws. Then the judiciary provides justice. These three are the parts of our government or bodies of our government. और इनका हर एक का अपना अपना काम क्या है, डिसाइड है, अपने हर एक के क्या है, फंक्शन डिसाइड है. जैसे लेजिस्लेटिव है टू मेक लॉज, एग्जीक्यूटिव है टू इम्प्लीमेंट द लॉज, एंड द जुडिशियरी functions providing justice to the people of the country. The functions of these organs, their jurisdiction and limitations on their power, and the interrelationship between these organs are decided by the constitution. Now you people already learnt about our constitution in 7th standard, and that is why you know that the frame of our government structure is already decided in our constitution, and according to the constitution these things are fixed, or the power and the limitations are mentioned in our constitution. So it is the nature of their interrelationship that determines the system of government adopted in a particular country. So executive is a different body, legislative is the different body, judiciary is the different body, but all these three are the bodies of our government, and there is interrelation between these bodies, and altogether we call it as a government. So basically there are two main types of government systems. Parliamentary system, which is in our country we are following parliamentary democracy or parliamentary system, and then the second one, presidential system, which is in United States of America. So citizens elect legislative, and then legislative elect executive. In parliamentary system, in presidential system, citizens elect executive and citizens also elect legislative, which means president. So this is what is the basic difference between the parliamentary democracy and the presidential democracy. We'll talk in detail about this also. Now the concept of parliamentary system of government. Why we Indians adopted parliamentary system of government, or what exactly parliamentary system means. The parliamentary system of government developed primarily in England. Where it developed? It developed in England. The English constitution is an unwritten constitution. जैसे हमारे देश का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रिटन है, एंड वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट रिटन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, दुनिया में जितने भी लिखे हुए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है उसमें से बड़ा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है हमारे कंट्री का. एंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंग्लैंड इज एन अनरिटन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. द गवर्नेंस is carried out in accordance with traditions and customs and conventions. Now all these things are taken into consider while writing the constitution. अब जब इंग्लैंड का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रिटर्न ही नहीं है, तो जो उनका गवर्नेंस चलता है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन चलता है, वो इन सारी चीज़ों पे बेस चलता है. वाइल राइटिंग इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑल्सो द मेंबर्स ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली टेकन इनटू कंसिडर द customs and the traditions of our country and the different religious things and all other social issues of our country. The British Parliament is an institution that has evolved over a period of time. The parliamentary system of government having its roots in parliament is considered as a contribution of England. So where there is parliamentary system in the world, the base or the fundamental basic, we can say fundamental things about the parliamentary system of government were there in the England. वहीं से ये parliamentary system शुरू हुई है. Now India has adopted a contribution of England. India has adopted this parliamentary system, and we can see some broad similarities in the parliamentary system of England and the parliamentary system of India. But before that, we'll just try to understand the characteristics of the Indian parliamentary system, and then we'll talk about why did India adopt a parliamentary system of government. पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ही क्यों अडॉप्ट किया इंडिया ने, प्रेसिडेंशियल सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नमेंट क्यों नहीं किया, वो देखने से पहले हम ये देखेंगे व्हाट आर द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ द इंडियन पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम विच आर एग्जैक्टली different than the characteristics of the parliamentary system of England, because these characteristics are according to the customs and traditions of our country or the social structure of our country. So the first one is here. The parliamentary system is a system of governance. Very basic thing, very important sentence. What is parliamentary system? Parliamentary system is a system of governance. पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम क्या है? पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नेंस है. द लेजिस्लेचर ऑफ द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, लेजिस्लेचर ऑफ द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. नाउ इन आवर कंट्री देयर आर टू गवर्नमेंट बॉडीज, वन इज सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. जितने भी स्टेट्स हैं हमारे कंट्री में, उन हर एक स्टेट के अलग अलग स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है, एंड वन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इज है. So the legislature of the central government is known as the parliament. Now this is again very important to understand. The parliamentary system is a system of governments and the legislature of the central government is known as the parliament. State के legislature को नहीं कहा जाएगा parliament. The legislature of the central government is known as the parliament. The Indian Parliament is composed of the President. देखो कौन कौन सी चीज़ें हैं इसमें. The Indian Parliament is composed of the President, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. These three things are there in the Indian Parliament. President है, Lok Sabha है and the Rajya Sabha. Now the President is the only one person, but in Lok Sabha we have number of members. In Rajya Sabha also there are number of members. So the first thing is clear, the concept or the definition of the parliamentary system. The parliamentary system is a system of governance and the legislature of the central government is known as the parliament. Second characteristics of the Indian parliament. Members of the Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people. Through elections, people elect the members of the Lok Sabha. अलग अलग लोक सभा कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज होती है और उसमें से जो कैंडिडेट चुन के जाते हैं वो फिर मेंबर ऑफ लोक सभा बन जाते हैं. द नंबर ऑफ मेंबर्स इन द हाउस इज फिक्स्ड. इन द नेक्स्ट चैप्टर विल टॉक अबाउट दिस नंबर. ये कितने मेंबर है कि जो फिक्स है उसके बारे में भी हम बात करेंगे. बट हियर वन थिंग विच यू हैव टू understand is that the member of the Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people. लोग डायरेक्ट वोट करते हैं और वो लोक सभा के मेंबर बन जाते हैं और ये मेंबर भी फिक्स है. ऐसा नहीं कि इस 5 साल में कम हो गए, अगले 5 साल में ज़्यादा हो गए, फिर अगले 5 साल में और कुछ अलग नंबर आया. इट इज़ नॉट लाइक दैट. द नंबर ऑफ मेंबर्स इन द हाउस इज फिक्स्ड. नेक्स्ट थिंग, elections to the Lok Sabha are held at regular intervals and this is of 5 years. हर 5 साल के बाद ये लोक सभा के इलेक्शंस होते हैं. About this in detail we'll study in the next chapter. Elections to the Lok Sabha are held at regular intervals. All political parties contest these elections. The party which gets more than half of the seats, for example 20 seats है. For example I am saying, seats are more than that. इससे बहुत ज़्यादा सीट्स है उसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे. लेकिन अगर 20 सीट्स है और हाफ से ज़्यादा मतलब 10 से ज़्यादा 12, 13 किसी एक पार्टी के आए, द पार्टी विच गेट्स मोर देन हाफ ऑफ द सीट्स इज कंसिडर्ड एज द मेजॉरिटी पार्टी. द मेजॉरिटी पार्टी फॉर्म्स द गवर्नमेंट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोई भी 2 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ है, उसमें से किसी एक पार्टी के 20 में से 13 सीट्स अगर जीत के आ जाते हैं तो गवर्नमेंट उस पर्टिकुलर पार्टी का बनेगा. तो इलेक्शंस टू द लोक सभा आर हेल्ड एट रेगुलर इंटरवल्स. ऑल पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज कंटेस्ट दिस इलेक्शंस. the party which gets more than half of the seats is considered as the majority party. The majority party forms the government. Next one, sometimes when no party gets a clear majority, ऐसा भी होता है कि 20 में से किसी एक पार्टी को more than 10 या more than half नहीं आए. Sometimes when no party gets a clear majority, some parties come together to form a majority and they can establish the government. To understand this, the state government of Maharashtra is very good example of this. अलग अलग 3 parties ने मिलके अपना government बनाया है. So when no party gets a clear majority, some parties come together. जैसे महाराष्ट्र में 3 अलग अलग parties एक साथ आई और उन्होंने अपना government बनाया. So when no party gets a clear majority, some parties come together to form a majority and they can establish the government. This kind of government is known as coalition government. क्या कहा जाता है इस government को? coalition government, जिसमें एक से ज़्यादा पार्टीज होती है, क्योंकि किसी एक पर्टिकुलर पार्टी को मेजॉरिटी या बहुमत जिसे हम कहते हैं वो नहीं मिलने पर 2 या 3 या फिर उससे भी ज़्यादा पार्टीज इकट्ठा होती है और अपना गवर्नमेंट बनाती है. दैट गवर्नमेंट इज नोन एज कोalition government. Next characteristic, in this way candidates directly elected by people become members of the legislature and the party in majority gets a chance to form the government. If any party gets the majority, then that party gets a chance to form the government. Next one, the leader of the majority party becomes the prime minister. किसी पार्टी को मेजॉरिटी मिली है तो उस पार्टी का जो लीडर है, that leader of the majority party becomes the prime minister. He or she selects candidates for ministerial positions from among his or her colleagues. फिर उस पार्टी में से अलग अलग जो लोग चुन के आए हैं उनको अलग अलग मिनिस्टर्स बनाया जाता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल होम मिनिस्टर, एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर, हेल्थ मिनिस्टर, ऑल दीज आर द डिफरेंट things we can say, or the different areas we can say, or the portfolio we can say. अलग अलग selected जो है पार्टी के important members उनको ये ministry दी जाती है. But here you people have to keep in mind that the leader of the majority party becomes the prime minister. He or she selects candidates for ministerial position from among his or her colleagues. Next one and the last one, characteristic of Indian parliamentary system. The prime minister and the council of ministers chosen by the prime minister together forms the executive. The prime minister and the council of ministers. Here one thing again which is very important to understand. For example, 13 members है out of 20. We are talking about the number which is not exactly, ये समझने के लिए हम 20 नंबर ले रहे हैं, which is more than that. About that also we'll talk in the next chapter. तो इन 13 में से 13 जो है वो मिनिस्टर नहीं बनेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल 5 मिनिस्टर प्लस एक प्राइम मिनिस्टर, तो ये 6 लोग मिलके क्या बनता है? एग्जीक्यूटिव. The prime minister and the council of ministers chosen by the prime minister together forms the executive in the parliamentary system of government. Executive has a dual responsibility. As an executive they have to implement laws, and second one, as they are the members of the legislature, they also have to fulfill responsibilities of the legislature. Two things, one, as an executive they have to implement laws को implement करना है, and the second thing, as they are the members of the legislature, they also have to fulfill responsibilities of the legislature. So all these are the characteristics of the Indian parliamentary system of government in India. Now about each and every characteristic we have to study in detail in the next chapter. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers is responsible to the legislature for all their actions and policies. Whatever is the action taken by the government or the policy run by the government, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers is responsible for that. देश में कोई भी पॉलिसी चलाई जा रही है, कोई भी एक्शन लिया गया है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, then for that the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers is responsible, which means that the Council of Ministers has to work with the legislature. ऐसा नहीं कि वो अलग से अपना काम करेंगे, उन्हें लेजिस्लेचर को साथ लेके ही काम करना पड़ता है. इट्स अ टीम वर्क फॉर द कंट्री. इट इज़ फॉर दिस रीज़न that the parliamentary system is known as responsible system of government. Why it is called responsible system of government? Because the legislature, the prime minister and the council of ministers has to work together. उन्हें साथ में काम करना पड़ता है. Now the next one, which is again we can say the characteristic of our parliamentary system, collective responsibility. Decision taken by any ministry or department. Now this may by the health department or by education department or the rural department, home ministry. So decision taken by any ministry or by any department is considered as decision of the government. कोई भी एक पार्ट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट या फिर मिनिस्ट्री या फिर डिपार्टमेंट इन द लैंग्वेज ऑफ सिविक्स डिसीजन अगर लेता है तो उसे गवर्नमेंट का डिसीजन कहा जाता है. द एंटायर काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स, द एंटायर काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द डिसीजन. In the parliamentary system, the executive is dependent upon the confidence of the legislature in them. What is the no confidence motion? About that we are talking now. What if the government fails in the work they have to do, और जो चीज़ें लोगों के लिए करनी चाहिए वो करने में अगर गवर्नमेंट फेल हो जाता है या फिर लोगों की जो डिमांड्स है वो कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाता है या फिर कुछ अलग चीज़ें इन द पॉलिटिक्स क्रिएट हुई, देन व्हाट हैपन्स? इन द पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम द एग्जीक्यूटिव इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन द कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ द लेजिस्लेचर इन देम. जितने भी मेंबर हैं उनका कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए उस पर्टिकुलर गवर्नमेंट पे या फिर एग्जीक्यूटिव पे. इफ द लेजिस्लेचर feels that the executive does not work in accordance to its wishes, it removes the executive from power by passing a non-confidence motion against the executive. And this is very important thing in the parliamentary system of government because it is kind of pressure, or it is kind of the thing which is very important to consider while doing the administration or while running the country. So what exactly it means? It means that the council of ministers remains in power till it enjoys the support or confidence of the legislature. जब तक legislature को लगता है कि ये लोग ठीक तरह से काम कर रहे हैं तब तक ही वो एग्जीक्यूटिव बना रह सकता है. एक बार लेजिस्लेचर को अगर ऐसा लगा कि ये लोग ठीक से काम नहीं कर रहे, विच इज़ अगेंस्ट द पॉलिसीज ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन और अगेंस्ट द थिंग्स विच आर मेंशन्ड इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, और विच इज़ नॉट गोइंग अप टू द मार्क, और लोगों को जो पसंद नहीं आ रहा है इनका काम, देन इट कैन बी रिमूव्स द एग्जीक्यूटिव फ्रॉम पावर बाय पासिंग अ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. No confidence motion is an effective tool. It is an effective tool of keeping a check over the executive. क्योंकि काम करते वक्त फिर एग्जीक्यूटिव मेंबर्स को ये ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है कि हम जो काम कर रहे हैं वो अच्छा ही होना चाहिए, अदरवाइज देयर इज फियर ऑफ अ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन. दैट इज वाई इट इज गिवन इन आवर टेक्स्ट बुक दैट द नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन इज एन इफेक्टिव टूल of keeping a check over the executive. In the parliamentary form of government. The legislature is a supreme institution. सबसे ऊपर जो है वो legislature है. Elected representatives of people express demands and aspirations of common people in the parliament. The parliament decides upon issues of public welfare. So the basic thing is all about the issues of the public, issues of the country. Since it is the house of representatives of people and expresses sovereign authority of the people, it is considered as the supreme body of the Indian parliamentary system. So legislature is the thing which is very important in our government structure. Next thing, now the basic question, why did India adopt a parliamentary system of government? हमने ये parliamentary system ही क्यों चूज़ किया, जबकि presidential system भी है या फिर और भी systems है government के structure के, then why we people choose a parliamentary system of government? India adopted the parliamentary system of government for several reasons, and on the screen you can see the development of parliamentary institutions started during the British rule. And as we know, Britishers ruled our country for 150 years. The British rulers governed in accordance with this system. तो जो structure already हमारे देश में चल रहा था through British government, that was parliamentary system. The parliamentary system of government in India is also in a way a product of the freedom movement. So Indians were familiar to this system. 150 साल तक इस सिस्टम के हिसाब से अपना देश चलता रहा. इसलिए क्या हुआ कि हमारे जितने भी फ्रीडम फाइटर्स थे, हमारे लीडर्स थे या फिर कॉमन लोग थे कंट्री के, वो सारे इस सिस्टम से क्या थे, फैमिलियर थे. उन्हें पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम के बारे में बहुत सारी चीज़ें पता थी. Many discussions took place in the Constituent Assembly or the system of government. Already you people studied about this in 7th standard civics कि Constituent Assembly में कौन कौन members थे, कैसे discussions होते थे और क्या चीज़ें होती थी. So in that many discussions took place in the Constituent Assembly or the system of government. The framers of the Constitution made few changes in the parliamentary system to suit the Indian situation. So the Constituent Assembly members adopted a parliamentary system of government which was already there in the country, but they made few changes to suit the Indian situations. ऐसा नहीं कि इंग्लैंड में जो पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम थी एग्जैक्टली वही हमारे देश में चलाई गई, उसमें हमारे देश के सिचुएशंस के हिसाब से कुछ चेंजेस किए गए. Discussions and deliberations are an integral part of the parliamentary form of government. Questions related to public welfare are discussed in the legislature. Here you can see, if you people go through the राज्य सभा टीवी और लोक सभा टीवी लाइक अदर चैनल्स, जो अलग अलग चैनल्स चलते हैं, वैसे लोक सभा टीवी और राज्य सभा टीवी भी ये चैनल्स चलते हैं. उसमें अगर आप देखेंगे सेशंस के दौरान तो ये देखने को मिलता है हमें कि अपोजिशन पार्टी, रूलिंग पार्टी बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं, फिर जो रूलिंग पार्टी है वो उस पर आंसर्स देती है. सो क्वेश्चंस रिलेटेड टू पब्लिक वेलफेयर आर डिस्कस्ड इन द लेजिस्लेचर. अपोजिशन पार्टीज मतलब जो पार्टी चुन के नहीं आई है, जिनको बहुमत नहीं मिला है, लेकिन उनके कुछ मेंबर्स हैं, जैसे फिर से हम वही नंबर लेंगे 13 मेंबर्स जो है वो उस पार्टी के हैं जो रूलिंग पार्टी है, तो 7 जो बचे वो अपोजिशन पार्टी के होती है. तो वो लोग क्या करते हैं, फिर क्वेश्चंस करने का काम करते हैं. अपोजिशन पार्टीज में सपोर्ट द गवर्नमेंट वेयर एवर एप्रोप्रिएट पॉइंट आउट ऑफ शॉर्टकमिंग्स इन पॉलिसीज एंड लॉज, put up studied arguments and questions etc. So ऐसा नहीं है कि अपोजिशन पार्टी सिर्फ उनको सपोर्ट करने का काम करती है या फिर सिर्फ अपोज करने का काम करती है. डिपेंड्स ऑन द सिचुएशन. सो दिस हेल्प्स द लेजिस्लेचर टू मेक प्रॉपर laws with the help of oppositions and with the help of ruling parties. So because of all these things, or because of all these reasons, India adopted a parliamentary system of government. Now we'll just go for the introduction of the presidential system also. As a student of civics, we should know what exactly presidential system of government is. So presidential system of government can be said to be another important system of government, and this type of system exists in countries such as United States of America. जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे प्राइम मिनिस्टर होते हैं, वैसे वहाँ पर प्रेसिडेंट होते हैं. This system is different from the parliamentary form. In this system, the president is the executive and is independent of the legislature, and as the head of the state, the president is directly elected by the people. हमारे यहाँ पे प्राइम मिनिस्टर डायरेक्टली इलेक्ट नहीं होते हैं. जो मेंबर्स लोकसभा के होते हैं उनमें से उनके जो लीडर है, जो चुन के आए हैं, उनको प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनाया जाता है. एंड हियर इन द प्रेसिडेंशियल फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, वहाँ पर प्रेसिडेंट भी डायरेक्टली लोगों से ही चुन के आते हैं. सो सच अ सिस्टम इज नोन एज द प्रेसिडेंशियल सिस्टम ऑफ government. Though the three organs are independent from each other, there are enough connections between them to work in harmony or in coordination. So the United States of America has adopted the presidential system of government. In India or in England, there is the parliamentary system of government, and in United States of America, there is presidential system of government. Now the features or the characteristic of the presidential system. In a presidential form of government, the legislature and the executive are not directly dependent on each other. Like in the parliamentary system, both are directly dependent on each other, but then in presidential system, these two are not directly dependent. The houses of the legislature and the president are directly elected by the people. The president is the executive head and has lot of powers, including power to implement laws. So it is in the hand of president. Then the next one, in spite of such a structure, the legislature and the executive keep a check on each other. This mutual control over each other can lead to a responsible government, and it is very इम्पॉर्टेंट इन द डेमोक्रेसी कि कोई भी एक सिस्टम जो है उसके हाथ में पूरी पावर ना जाए ताकि वो उसका मिसयूज़ कर सकते हैं. दैट इज़ वाई इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू कीप चेक ऑन ईच अदर. नाउ व्हाट आर द थिंग्स अदर देन presidential form of government or the parliamentary form of the government? Apart from the parliamentary and presidential systems of government, there are other forms of government systems that are followed in France, in Switzerland, in Germany, or in all other countries. Several countries owing their unique circumstances. This is again very important thing. कोई भी गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम हो, वेदर इट इज़ पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम और प्रेसिडेंशियल सिस्टम, या फिर इन दोनों को छोड़ के कोई और सिस्टम भी होगी, बट वहाँ की जो यूनिक सर्कमस्टेंसेस है उस पर्टिकुलर जियोग्राफिकल एरिया के, उस पर्टिकुलर कंट्री के, उसको ध्यान में रखा जाता है. सो सेवरल कंट्रीज ओविंग टू देयर यूनिक सर्कमस्टेंसेस हैव इवॉल्व्ड different systems of government. Now in this topic we people learn about the introduction to the parliamentary system of government, what exactly the concept of parliamentary system of government, then its characteristics, then why did India adopt a parliamentary system of government, presidential system of government and its features. Now in the next chapter we'll study the structure, working and role of the Indian Parliament. Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications. So my dear students, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.